Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. And we right now, well, for me, I think in Asia you guys are ahead, right? You may have already gotten the new banners, but for me, I'm sitting here. We have many hours to go, half a day or so, give or take, until Hytham's banner ends and let all hell breaks loose at this point. I just don't know what's gonna happen. Hu Tao, Yalan, different people are gonna say different things between the two characters, the different weapons, as well as future characters that are coming up. And when it comes to these kind of discussions, it's very difficult to avoid toxicity, right? Toxicity is kind of out there of a concept. What is toxicity? For example, when I say Xinyan sucks, right? Is that considered being toxic? In a way, people could say, yeah, like you're saying the truth. However, you don't have to word it like that. Like, what do you gain by saying it like that? Why do you have to say it like that? You could say that, well, I'm trying to warn other people that she's not a good character, so don't pull for her or don't invest into her if you want to play meta and know what's best for your account. But at the same time, then people would be like, so how does you saying she sucks convey that message clearly to the people who need to hear it, right? Does it not just sound like I am saying it to kind of make people who has built Xinyan feel bad, or just make people try to see her in a more negative light? Stuff like that, right? Now that's the intro out of the way. Toxicity, you can't really put a finger on it. And the biggest topic of discussion between the Genshin community since its inception is casuals versus meta player. Now, if you guys watch Soul, which I do, he made a video talking about how he absolutely despises the section of casual players who consistently go out of their way to harass other people and say things like, oh, don't pull for meta, that's cringe, just pull for who you like, just pull for waifu. Oh, for me, like waifu over meta, I don't care how bad these characters are, I'm pulling because I'm gonna spoil them rotten, because waifu over meta is cringe, and anybody who plays meta is cringe. This very small group of people, and yes, I am very well aware that this group of people is incredibly minor within the general community of Genshin Impact, but just like many things, the golden ratio, it's 10% of the people causing 90% of the issues. And in this case, when it comes to the casual representation, those are the groups of people that really grinds everyone's gears. Now, do you guys think meta players are free of guilt from all this? Absolutely not. If you guys sit here thinking, Walrus, you're right, so it's just those players, right? No, the meta players generally, like I'm talking about the content creators, most of their communities are great people. They will not hesitate to take time out of their day, sit down with you, walk through things you can improve on for your account, and explain it to you in a very easy to understand way as to help you improve. However, there is a portion of those people who have zero patience, and at this point, I honestly don't know if they're trolling or they're just rude people to begin with. And most of them suffer from a symptom called the curse of knowledge. Now, this isn't something I just made up or pulled from a Sumerian textbook, but this is something that actually exists in real life. Go ahead, you can try to Google it. The curse of knowledge refers to a state of mind where, because you already know these things, you have forgotten what it felt like to not know these things. Sounds familiar? For example, if you've been playing Genshin for 2 years, you've researched on some meta stuff, topics, you've tried meta compositions, you've actively participated in meta discussions and stuff and whatnot, and to the point where now you likely have forgotten what it's like to not know these things. You can be like, oh, I remember, you know, like when I first started, I remember, but no, I don't mean like that terms of forgot. Your body has forgotten what it feels like. You cannot take that information outside of your head and behave and ask questions as if you don't know what these things are. And that, my friends, is the curse of knowledge. And a vast majority of the toxicity from the meta players comes from this symptom. And it's not as easy as just to say, well, just forget, just try to think in other people's shoes. But it's not that quite simple, you see. When it comes to Genshin Impact, every player is so distinctly different from how they approach and play the game, ranging from what device they're playing, what type of gamer they are. Are they hardcore? Are they familiar with the controls? How many hours they spend in a day playing the game? What type of characters they like, playstyle they like, even personalities can affect in-game playstyle. I mean, just look at League players, like different ways of playing the game. Look at drivers, different personalities will drive a car differently. So why should a video game be so different, right? At the end of the day, it's impossible for meta players to truly understand what it feels like to be an uneducated new player who plays on a mobile phone, right, with 200 ping, who is also very impatient, at the same time lazy and unappealed towards the whole grindy concept of artifact farming. What are you gonna do, right? And then so that's what happens when a meta player confronts one of these type of players. It's the sparks just starts flying. Okay, now I know you guys want some sauce. What I mean by that is you guys want me to throw a baggage right towards one of these sides. So who's more toxic, Walrus? Are you gonna pick a side today, or are you just gonna keep on rambling? Relax. I mean, like, especially a lot of the people, they just want to point a finger. It's like, okay, Walrus, my finger is ready. Tell me who to point my finger at and criticize them. Honestly, if you want an answer from me, a definitive answer, it doesn't exist. You're gonna point at the meta players and say like, oh, like you guys are the problem. You guys started all of this. But meta players, I'm gonna say this though, are fewer in numbers. Right, meta players are fighting an uphill battle consistently because there's just more casuals. But then again, let me just reiterate, there is a very small portion of the casual players who, in my opinion, they're like the Among Us of casual players. Okay, let me explain what the hell I mean by this. Is that these players are like extremely knowledgeable. They may be free to play, but they're by no means casual. They are like wolves wrapped in sheep clothing, right? So this is what they will do. They will basically watch every single meta video under the sun. They are scouring the Reddit pages. They're pretty much on like all forums discussing the game. They're in like 20 different Discord meta group channels, including League channels. They know everything there is to know about Genshin, both for past, present, and even the future. Yet they will claim that, oh, I don't know much about the game. I can do this. It's because Genshin is so easy. Ever heard this one? It's like, oh, like that's not hard. Like, dude, I can beat the abyss with my eyes blindfolded, hands tied behind my back, playing with my toes. Like, and that's not because I know the game. It's just that Genshin is too easy. It's incredibly frustrating because you can't really call him out. Do you have proof that he scours the internet and plays meta? But if you really dig, I guarantee you for these people, if you go onto their computer, you'll see that these people are very in tune with the meta. Yet they claim that they don't really play the game. Oh, like I got a bit lucky with my artifacts here and there. It's like, I don't know. Like, it's the same thing when people share a screenshot with you. It's like, bro, I just did a temple and I got like 2 Nahidas. Is that good? Yes, there are people who are generally curious. I know that. But there's a large portion of people who are just subtly flexing, right? They're just subtly flexing. And this is just one form of that. Subtle flexing is that, yes, they're very aware and they know what they've accomplished could be considered impressive. Let's say they beat Abyss with a very casual free-to-play team with no like really meta to it, all 4 stars or low 4 stars, and they're just like, oh, like, look, I just 36 a star like this. It's very easy. I don't know why other people can't do it. It's so easy, right? That's throwing shade towards other people for not being able to clear it, essentially, when they have shown that, oh, I can do it effortlessly. And it's not because I'm a meta player. No. It's because the game is too easy. That is, my friends, an Among Us in casual communities. And these people are highly toxic. Like, they are so venomous that a drop of their venom on your skin will penetrate 3 layers down through your arm into the pavement and down even further 7 feet into the soil. Highly venomous people. And on the meta side, right, these meta players, we have the people who just feels like everyone should already have the answer. They're like the profs who expect you to come to class first day and know half of the material. Basically, they expect you to know elemental gauge theory. You're supposed to know like all the meta teams. Like if you ask them, hey, is Zhongli, you know, a good character to pull? And they'll basically be like, read this paper, like Zhongli, it's a DPS loss, blah blah blah. Like they will basically just rail on you for not knowing some of the most fundamental things about the game. They're basically teachers that should be teaching like a higher level course, but they're stuck teaching 5th graders, for example. They're very passionate about what they do. Let's say a math teacher who's forced to teach like 4th or 5th graders when his dream is to be teaching like postdoctoral mathematics about like set theory and constructing your own mathematical universe, and yet he's stuck teaching 4th and 5th graders. So every day his gears just get grinded dry. In a way, overqualification, but at the same time, nobody really, or a very small number of people actually needs that type of knowledge. So like I say again, those people are extremely few in numbers, and that's why casuals win by default. That's why you see in Soul's video, he has such a strong reaction towards casual players, which is because they just come in droves. But to be honest, the meta players affect more people. The casual players, due to their lack of credibility, lack of experience in the game, they just come and go. People see what they say and then feel like can disregard it. But a lot of these people in the meta space, they have authority, they have a voice, right? Like if they say something, there's going to be a lot of people who sees it, and then that echo, man, that echo. For example, they say something and then these people who are less educated, imagine that same guy who wants to teach postdoctoral mathematics about set theory and mathematical universe. He says something, or he publishes a paper, or he like has a new finding in Genshin, and then some dude like who's into meta but maybe not as well versed reads like half the paper or watches, God forbid, a YouTube video recapping the paper that is made by also somebody who is not well versed. Like the trickling down of this knowledge, by the time you and I reaches these people, they're gonna spew some crap at you that makes very little sense, and they expect you to know. It's like, oh, didn't you watch the video? Like, dude, this is like some state-of-the-art knowledge. You got to get on this. Like, you like, how do you not know this, right? And that's where the meta issue starts, right? It's that these people who are not well equipped with the whole picture, and they take a piece of the pie, try to shove it down your throats, and try to sell it to you as the whole damn pie, right? I'm just highlighting the phenomenons here. I'm trying to put into words different scenarios and experiences, and these two sides, like they constantly are clashing with each other over and over again. The meta players are like barely holding on, because when it comes to Genshin, thank God Hoyoverse designed it to be just complex enough that meta and theory crafting and all this stuff is engaging enough to these people. And as Dendro has come out, it kind of elevated the playing field a little bit here for them, and hence making it a little more in depth to research. It's great. I love both sides. However, in my honest opinion, I think oftentimes these casual players can come off as a little cocky and a little condescending towards people who care about the meta. For example, in Soul's video again, he says like play for fun, but what if my version of fun is to play the most optimal characters and smash abyss and clear it as fast as possible, and it gives me that adrenaline rush. Whereas on the meta side, they constantly belittle casual players for their lack of knowledge on the game, as well as their unwillingness to learn and empower their account, hence making these meta players like questioning, now why are you even playing this game, right? If you're not playing to get more powerful, why are you playing this game? So at this, like, you see, the issue for both parties is they fail to see it from the other party's perspective. They just can't, because they're so passionate about the way they are doing it. They cannot possibly fathom that the other side has anything worthwhile to present to their perspective. And again, to summarize everything, these two parties are very, 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 very few individuals from both the casual and meta players. The vast majority of meta players don't care, and in fact, the vast majority of meta players likely are able to understand the other side of the perspective. That's why you don't see all-out war breaking out between these two parties, whereas the vast majority of casual players don't even interact with us. They're not even online, so you'll never hear from them. You'll never know what the hell they're doing. Maybe they play like twice a week, right? I know, like some meta players literally just like had a panic attack, like, oh, twice a week. What about their resin? But that's just how the game state is. And with the Hu Tao, Yelan, Homa, as well as Aqua Simulacra banner coming out, following that, a whole new patch, and then likely Fontaine, this battle will never end. But hopefully, if you've reached the end of this video, you gain just a little more insight to what the hell is going on in the minds of these very, I would say, passionate individuals when it comes to how they play the game. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, urge you to stay safe. Peace, bye bye.